Hey boyos, daily check-in with John V, August 15th, 2025. Yeah, last one I did was on the 11th, so it's probably a good time to do another one. It's creeping up on the time again to take a bath. It's been I think it's been over a week, whatever. I'm not looking to impress anybody right now, right? So I don't care, right? And it's so much easier to just not wash myself than to wash myself. I know it bothers some people if they know I haven't bathed in a while, but fuck 'em. It's not their life, right? And I've had people in the past when I get in an argument with them, they say, like I don't want to have to smell you, and it's like I'm just like, well, if you're fat, I don't want to have to look at how fat you are, right? It's the same thing, like just lose weight. You just tell me take a bath, like lose weight. Right. I remember in high school someone said that to me, one of my friends, and I was like, well, I don't want to see you if you're big and fat. And they were fat, and they're still fat, and they've always been fat. Right. It's the same logic to me. You know, it's just the way it is. But I'm looking a bit better. My face, the skin quality is kind of bad, and I don't think it's from the sun. I think it's really just the lighting in my room because when I look in the bathroom mirror, I look much better than I used to. Much better. And you can't really tell, but I have a really deep tan. And it's not noticeable on this camera, the webcam camera. And I think it's because the quality of the webcam isn't very good, right? I might have to upgrade that sometime in the near future. Well, not near future, it'll be the far future, probably a year or so when I do my transformation video showing off my physique and everything. I've wanted to do one of those sometime soon, showing off my lack of physique, you know, being very overweight and everything, just to show off what I look like, something to go by for after I've lost all the weight and gotten in good shape, right? I still have a long way to go. 5 pounds down is still 5 pounds down, right? 5 pounds in 3 weeks and a day is not bad. It's not bad at all. A lot of you boyos are giving me shit saying 5 pounds is nothing. Well, 5 pounds is progress. If I can keep up 5 pounds of weight loss a month, I'm happy. That's something, right? And I had stalled out. I was fluctuating at 230 up and down every month by a pound or two up or down, and that's when I decided something needs to be done. And why does it look like my nose is crooked? It looks like my nose is fucking crooked, doesn't it? Like it looks like an asymmetry of my face. Oh well. But yeah, I'm really hoping I get approved for the DTC. That'll fix a lot of my. That'll fix all my financial issues, all of them, right? And I had to cancel my appointment on the 22nd in Halifax because I don't have reliable transportation anymore, and I got the paperwork from housing on on my computer to give to the doctor to fill out to send in to put me on the emergency list for housing in Halifax, and that's because I need access to healthcare services, just for routine checkups because of my heart surgery I had a number of years ago, 4 years ago now, right? And that's why I need to be close to the health services. But I'm hoping my doctor will fill that out. Always in the past, I'll unnecessarily worry about things and then find out there was no reason to worry. Everything was fine. I got approved. That's what seems to happen with me. And I'll unnecessarily worry and think, oh, fuck, he's not going to fill out the paperwork. Oh, fuck, I'm not going to get approved. I'm not going to get put on the wait list. They're going to deny me. And that never happens, right? what's gonna probably happen is my doctor will fill out the paperwork. I'll send it in, and in probably, maybe a year or two, I'll have a place. Because I've known women with kids on welfare, and 3 months they're put on the priority list. 3 months they're in a place, right? And as a single man, I don't expect to get put in a place that fast, but I might be a lucky one and get into a place in a year, right? But a realistic time frame would be 2 years. But this is getting ahead of myself because I haven't even got the paperwork done by the doctor yet. So I'm hoping everything goes fine with that because my life is kind of on hold until I get in my own place in housing. And then life is going to be amazing, right? Because I did my best when I lived on my own, and I've only lived on my own once. And that was back over 12 years ago, a little over 12 years ago. Um, Life was going really well. I had my position as a manager at Walmart, which is nothing special. All that gave me was like a 75-cent raise of over what I was making before that, right? But having my own place, I excelled. I could focus on doing what I want to do and what I needed to do, playing games, working out, eating regular healthy meals. There was none of this bullshit garbage food laying around like when I live with other people. Um, that's only becoming an issue since I moved in with my sister 4 years ago. Because I kind of have free reign over her food too. Whereas when I lived with other people before, it was not immediate family, so I usually kept my hands to myself with their food. And I did really well with that when I lived with other people and they had their own food. I wouldn't touch it, wouldn't do anything with it. And since I live with my sister, like she'll have pies and donuts and danishes and eclairs and cookies and crackers and chips and shit like that. And the temptation is there, and it's like I just break down sometimes and have some, right? But once I live on my own, I won't be buying any of that garbage. um, I'll probably be I probably will attempt um, a carnivore or keto diet. Probably a keto diet. You know, meat, eggs, Greek yogurt, vegetables. That's it. Stuff like carrots, broccoli, spinach, onions, stuff like that. Right. Keep it basic. Mushrooms. Um, Probably eat fruit too, like bananas and oranges and apples. But as far as like bread products go, I wouldn't be eating none of that. No, that stuff. I can eat way too much bread products, way too much bread products, and not feel full. Pasta, oh my fucking god, pasta! I can eat so much pasta. Like there has been times here my sister will make pasta and put the leftovers in the fridge, and I see it, and the temptation is too great, and I have pasta, and pasta's not filling. Pasta's not filling at all. Like I can have 2 bowls of pasta and it's nothing. I could probably go for a third or fourth bowl too. But pasta's so good. Even Kraft dinner is good. But I'll be staying away from that stuff when I get my own place, right? Because I got to start worrying about my health. Typically people when they get older, they get this false idea in their head that they have to take it easy. They have to relax. They have to slow down, not do strenuous activity, and that's false. That's the wrong way to think. Physical activity becomes more important as you get older, not less important. It becomes more important. When you're young, you can abuse your body. You can neglect your health. You can eat a bunch of garbage, not lift weights, not exercise, not walk. You can do all that and you can still be fine. I've known plenty of people my age when they were younger, in their 20s, and they'd eat pizza pockets. They'd eat chicken nuggets and french fries. They'd eat hot dogs. They'd eat literal garbage food not exercise, go a year at a time and not do any exercise, play stuff like World of Warcraft, and they wouldn't get fat, they wouldn't look unhealthy, they'd look fine, and they'd bounce back, they'd get a job doing something physical, and they bounce back no problem. And when you get to be the age I am, 41, you know, it becomes a real problem losing muscle mass over time, right? And it's about my age when people start thinking, oh, I've got to slow down, I got to take it easy. And it's at my age that it's most important that you stay active and start doing strenuous things and not let yourself go, not go long periods of time without exercise or training of some sort. And it, it flabbergasts me because people are ass backwards with the way they think. People are just completely backward with the way they think. They think, got to take it easy, got to relax, got to avoid difficult tasks. And no, like I've known people that my age, they live with their mother, and people would have a fit because their mother would go out and mow the lawn with a push mower, and you know they'd have a fit because he's in the house playing games and she's outside mowing the lawn. It's like, well, she should be. It's more important for her to be active than it is to her for him because she's an old woman. She should be outside pushing a lawnmower, right? Now, I'm not saying if you're an old person that you should be absolutely busting your fucking ass off because you're gonna get injured easier because you're older. But for performing most basic difficult tasks, you should be doing them, like piling firewood, mowing a lawn with a push mower, sweeping a floor, mopping a floor, doing chores around the house, doing chores outside, doing barn work if you live on a farm. Like those are things that you should keep doing. That it's most important to do them when you're older because of muscle loss, muscle atrophy, right? And bone loss, your bone density decreases as you get older, right? And it's because old people tend to baby themselves and not take care of themselves properly and baby themselves and not do any physical activity, right? And it always flabbergasts me because people have it backwards. I've known old people that were quite a bit older than me, you know, when they were in their 50s, my grandmother, her doctor told her she should start taking it easy, and she did start taking it easy. She stopped doing anything. She stopped doing anything difficult, and she died. Um, she might have been like 75, and I don't think she was even that old. She died, and she likely would have lived longer if she had stayed active, right? But it just flabbergasts me. People, they start coddling themselves when they become my age, and they start avoiding physical activity, and that's not what you do. That's not what you do. And there's people I've known since I was in high school, older people than me, with parents to my friends that I used to have, and I'll see these people after not seeing them for a long time, and they're in their 60s now, and they look absolutely fucking terrible with just, you know, rolls of fat hanging off of them, no muscle mass at all, just rolls of fat. And besides being disgusting looking, it's not healthy, right? And they have no muscle mass because they don't do any kind of training or exercise at all. Yeah. And it just blows my mind because a lot of people, their way of thinking is backward, right? And like I said, if you're old, you don't want to kill yourself. You don't want to go balls to the wall trying to deadlift your max every week, right? If you're a strength trainer, you don't want to be trying to deadlift 800 pounds if that's what you did when you were 35, right? Obviously, you should still be deadlifting, but obviously over time, you want to go easy on yourself. You want to limit your really heavy days um, to probably just a few times a year rather than a few times a month. But people my age, it seems to be it seems to be a young person's game, strength training, and I know very very few older people that strength train. Yet I know more people that are younger than me or my age that strength train than I do older than me. And a lot of the friends I used to have, some of them used to strength train back in high school or even into their 20s, and they stopped doing it as they got older because they have the false belief in their head that they should be, cutting back on physical activity, not doing more of it, and that's wrong. That's fucking wrong, you know. If I had it in my head that I was gonna be like most people my age, I would give up on weight loss. I'd be 225 right now, which I am, and I'd say, well, 225 is, you know, 225 is acceptable. I'll stay at 225, and it's not acceptable. If I was 20 years old and weighed 225 pounds, it's a completely different story because if I'm carrying a lot of body fat at 20, it's not as bad as being my age, 41, and carrying a whole bunch of body fat. It's not as bad. And I think it's more important at my age to be a really slim build of like 165, right? More important now than when I was like 19 or 20 years old. Now, when I was 19, 20 years old, I was quite thin, like 165 pounds. But it's more important now that I be that weight than it was then, right? And I plan to get my life together when I get my own place and, you know, lead a physically active lifestyle, walking. And by time I get put into housing, if I get put on the emergency wait list, which is 2 years time, I should have a place. By then, I should have reached my weight loss goals, and then I can strength train regularly every day, or nearly every day for like an hour at a time, and walk for an hour every day. Nothing crazy anymore for walking. The only reason why I'm walking so much now is I want the weight to come off, and it's working. But once I get to my goal body weight, I just have to maintain the fitness level, the fitness from walking, and that's about an hour a day. That's all it is. Once a week I might do a marathon session of like 3 hours or something like that, just to just so my body will remember how to walk for a long period of time for a day, right, and not forget. But it'll become, it'll all come in time. And once I get into my own place, I can get a job, um, some casual job, just 8 or 10 hours a week, working somewhere, and I can get into doing all these other activities I want to do, like going to the game stores and playing Magic, and getting into some kind of self-defense class, whether it be boxing or wrestling of some sort, or both, right? Some kind of striking sport, as well as some kind of grappling sport. And also, I want to get back into arm wrestling again. With the arm wrestling, I'm not going to take it overly serious. It's just, it'll be something to get me out there, meeting people, having fun. That's it, right? And what else would I do? I looked for ideas on the MISC before, and nobody had any real input to give of what I could be doing for fun, for activities outside my home when I move. Nobody really had any real insight. Playing Magic at the card store twice a week. You know, some kind of self defense class that's once or twice a week probably, and I don't know how often they have those classes. Like boxing, I don't know how many days a week boxing is. It might be, I don't know, maybe they have some of them it's like go as much as you want kind of thing. Um, Obviously, if I get into something like boxing, I don't want it to take over my life because I don't plan on becoming some world champion boxer at 41. It's just not going to happen. Like if I was 21 years old, maybe, but not at 41. I'd be mostly doing it for, to learn the basics of self defense and combat. That's it. And just because it gets me out there meeting people, it's physical activity to help keep me in shape, right? And also the arm wrestling is like once a week, but they have different clubs, so I could probably join a couple of clubs and do it twice a week, right? I could have a full schedule once I move of things to do, right? I could really have a full schedule. They do have um, martial arts around here, martial arts classes. There's Aikido or something like that, and I don't know how much it is, and it's not far from me, but I don't want to get into stuff like that yet. Not until I'm down to a healthy body weight, because obviously I wouldn't be able to handle myself very well being really overweight like I am. And I know I talk about it like I'm some huge fat ass that's like 500 pounds, but in the fitness world, I am massively out of shape. Massively out of shape. Compared to people in real life, I'm in much better shape than most people I know in real life. Most people I know in real life are absolute tubs of lard, really fat, really ugly, and it's unacceptable. But it's their life. They can all do what they want. For me, it's just not acceptable. I don't want to be a fat piece of shit, right? And the main reason why I want to lose all the weight, it's for myself. It's not to get girls, it's not to feel better. It's literally, I just want to look better. I just want to look good. I want to be able to, put on some nice clothes and stand in front of a full length mirror and be like, wow, I look pretty good. That's what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to go out in public and, actually feel like, I look good compared to other people. That's what I want from, you know, a healthy lifestyle. But we're going on a long video. We'll keep it going. Why not? I don't think any of you boys are gonna watch the whole thing, but I appreciate if you do, and I'm sure I have the the oddball weirdo that will watch the whole thing. You know, on the Looks Maxing forum when I was on there, I did have one person say they watched my whole video and it was like 25 minutes, which impressed me. Because I would not watch somebody's video of them rambling for 25 minutes. But yeah, life's okay. You know, I'm constantly trying to make headway in different areas. My living situation, like housing, finance, health, fitness. You know, I am trying to make headway in every area at all times. I'm not just going to stagnate. I know so many people that are on some kind of government support and they don't do anything to improve their life. They don't do anything. You know, they literally just talk to their friends and watch TV and waste time, and that's it. So I walk 4 hours a day, and that's pretty good. That's a pretty good accomplishment, I think. And I'd like to do strength training too, but with walking 4 hours a day, it's not realistic. Um, if I cut it down to 3 hours a day, I could also do an hour of strength training every day. But I don't want to worry about that yet. Once I get closer to my goal weight, I might cut it down to 3 hours and start doing an hour of weight training. And then once I do reach my goal weight, I might cut it down to an hour of walking and an hour of weight training, and that would be perfect. I'd have to slash calories a little bit though. With the walking I do, I don't have to really cut calories that much to keep losing weight. Give me a sec. Something in my teeth. My teeth don't look too bad. I keep meaning to start brushing my teeth. Um, Once I get closer to my goal body weight and start, you know, maximizing my appearance, I'll start brushing my teeth every day, probably multiple times a day. But we won't be buying KFC tonight. I had KFC last night, and it was actually not night; it was in the evening, late afternoon, and I was like, man, I want KFC so bad. So I got their lunchbox meal, and after I ate it, I regretted it. I was like, man, I shouldn't have spent that money, and I shouldn't have bought that garbage food. But you got to live a little bit, right? But anyway, boys, I'll cut the video off there, and I'll see you on the misc.